Hi guys, I miss you so much. So here we go with a new tutorial. Today I'm going to talk about something really important in bass music production, the kick drum processing. But first of all, I made a PDF for you guys with all the things I'm going to talk about. So if this video has been useful and you wanna get the PDF and keep it in a safe place, just click on the link above here in the description and download it for free. The most crucial elements in a bass music track are the main drums, so kick and snare and sub bass. Even if you spend a lot of time working on your track and you wrote unique melodies, you got some catchy vocals, if these main elements doesn't sound right and frontal, the track will not be as good as it could be. So today I'm gonna show you what matter when you have to treat a kick drum. Boom! 1. Transients. 2. Body. 3. Subtractive EQ. 4. Midside check. 5. Cut through the mix. 6. Colors. 7. Clipping. 8. Parallel compression. And 9. Poor speakers test. It's important to notice that there is no fixed processing that always works for every kind of kick. I'm not one of those persons who always use a compressor on a kick, for example. I used to make sample packs for a long time in the past, and I'm aware of how much a kick is already processed by the sound designer who made the pack. So what's the point of compressing something that has been compressed already, maybe more than once? Theoretically, a kick could already sound amazing without any added processing, but in practice, we must consider that the kick have to be dominant in the mix. So some processing is needed, but its purpose is to make the kick sound right in the mix. Right in the mix. Taking decisions in solo is quite a stupid move. But now let's go through the kick processing. 1. Transient. Vulgarly called attack, the transient is the thickest part at the very beginning of every percussive element. It usually lasts from 10 to 30 milliseconds and it's mostly made by high frequencies. We could use a compressor to deal with transients, but I prefer to go more surgically using some transient enhancers. There are so many different good plugins to do that. My favorite are Transient Master, Kilohertz, Transient Shaper and the Ableton stock drum bass. In most cases, I boost the attack to let it cut more through the mix, but sometimes I also reduced it to make the kick warmer, because if you reduce the attack, the body seems to come out more, and it also let it flow much smoother with the other elements around it. 2. Body. As the word says, it's the kick's belly, the warmer part, and it comes just after the transient. As I said before, you can reduce the transient, making up the output gain, to make the body comes out more. If you don't want to change how the transient sounds, you can just boost the body using, for example, an EQ. My favorite plugin to make a kick sound fatter is the Brainworks Boom, that is amazing in doing that. It's basically a dynamic mid-side EQ using band pass filters, and it has been specifically designed for bass drum processing. It's cool because you can visually see how much the plugin is working on the kick drum body. I usually turn up the boom knob till it's barely flashing on each kick hit. 3. Subtractive EQ. At this stage you can adjust the overall feel of the kick, if needed, boosting or decreasing the power of certain frequency ranges. We can split the kick in 4 macro areas, from 40 Hz to 90 Hz bass boom, from 90 Hz to 200 Hz the bass punch, from 1 kHz to 2 kHz there is the whack, from 3 kHz to 5.5 kHz there is the edge and clarity. We can also add some hair or sparkle using a high shelf on 16 kHz. I always use FabFilter Pro Q3 to do that. The chance to go dynamic gives a much more natural feel to the adjustment. 4. Midside check. It's extremely important that the kick is playing in the center of our environment. Nothing else to do than check its mono compatibility. So listen to its mono signal first, then to the sides. If you hear something in the sides, just remove most of it using a midside EQ, low frequencies especially. Even in the case it hasn't already an information in the sides, be careful, because any step of processing could create unwanted sides information. So check sides till the end of the kick processing and low cut them in case they appears. When in mono, the kick have to sound good like in stereo. So if it's not, make some mid EQ adjustments to fix it. 5. Cut through the mix. This is all the previous and next steps aim. So work on your kick, keeping this in mind. Also, sidechaining is crucial to make it work. I personally use Cable Guy's Shaper Box to do that. In the future maybe I will make another tutorial to show you how I use it, but let's keep talking about the kick. 6. Color. This step is useful to give even more life and character to the sound. It's again EQing here, but this time we use analog EQ emulators to make it sound even more interesting. The difference between the step 3, subtractive EQ, is that before we were using a digital EQ, super presses, no color at all. Here we are using a color EQ, useful to add harmonics to the sound. So it will be a kind of soft saturation on certain frequencies. There are so many analog EQs for this purpose, like the PSP E27, the Pugtech EQ P1A, but my favorite is Dangerous Bax EQ. I usually cut at 12 Hz, low shelf at 74-84 Hz, and I can also add extra spark using the high shelf on 18 kHz. Seven. Clipping. This gives extra power to the kick and glue all the previous steps together. I personally love Ableton Stock Saturator. 8. Parallel compression. It lets you have a better control on how much the kick cuts through the mix. To do that, I just use an Ableton Stock compressor on a return track. Attack 30 milliseconds, release 100 milliseconds, ratio 4:1 and linear mode, where I send all my kick till the gain reduction is around 4-5 dBs. The advantage of using this technique is that you have a separate channel for the transient of the kick, so you can decide its weight on the overall mix without affecting how it's sounding. Nine. Poor speakers test. This is quite important too. I mean, any kick drum for its nature has its main part in the low frequencies, so we measure the power of the kick focusing on that frequency range. But we must consider that the majority of people out there use crappy speakers, smartphones, laptops, most of the portable speakers. They all can play a very limited frequency range, and basses are not included in that range actually. So when we process a kick, we are basically focusing on something really important, but that will be noticed just on big sound systems. So what about the medium listener? We need to take care of them too. I always keep an Ableton stock EQ3 that emulates my MacBook speakers on the master channel. In this way, I can focus on the middle frequencies only without getting distracted by the emotional power of the low frequencies. Another important thing is the sample choice. Always try to choose a kick that already sounds amazing and that is as closest as possible to the idea I have in mind. Avoid overprocessing stuff, especially kick. I usually take a kick at the beginning of the track and go through its processing little by little. The nature and the amount of processing on a kick strictly depends on the weight of the other elements in the mix. So guys, these are the main things to take care on the kick drum. As I said at the beginning, the processing always depends on how the original kick sample fits with the other elements. Sometimes I follow all these steps, sometimes just feel them. Thanks guys for watching, I hope it has been useful. If you have any doubts, just drop a comment above and I will do my best to reply to all of you guys. If you enjoy my videos, subscribe to my channel here and support me on my social. Peace!